For Rosemary Tribble, it's been a heartbreaking journey.
I was 25 when I was raped. I just turned 60.
But now she's finally found the courage to tell her story of fear to freedom. In the beginning, it was a picture-perfect life. Rosemary, a former America's Junior Miss, was happily married and the host of a popular talk show on WTVR called Rosemary's Guest Book.
Each day they would open up this guest book and they would have calligraphy the name of the guest, and each person wore a rose for Rosemary. I started with a thought for the day, and it was mostly a women's audience at 9:30 in the morning, but I loved it.
In December of 1976, Rosemary took on a topic not openly talked about on television: rape.
And the amazing thing was the absolute outpouring of pain of so many victims whose stories had never been heard. And I was just overwhelmed with concern for women that had been abused.
But Rosemary never imagined she'd come to know their pain so well. Just 1 week after her show on rape aired, Rosemary checked into a hotel near the station so she'd be ready for an early morning taping the next day.
That night was working on my script, decided to go downstairs for some coffee around 11 o'clock. And when I came back into the room, I sat down at my desk and I heard the curtains behind me shuffle, and a man came forward and took a gloved hand and put it around my throat and then put a gun to my head and said, "Okay, cute talk show host, what do you do with a gun in your hand?"
That night, Rosemary was brutally raped.
I prayed, I pled, I fought. I remember saying the Lord's Prayer to myself to try to keep from going into shock.
But it was her assailant's parting words that haunted her most.
He put the gun in my head and he said, "I know where you live, I know who you are, and I promise I will kill you if you tell."
Rosemary's husband, Paul, a Commonwealth's attorney in Essex County at the time, remembers the phone call that night.
Well, you know, I was a prosecutor, but I also was a husband. And so the most important consideration was being there for Rosemary and supporting and encouraging her, holding her close, trying to walk through this tragedy with her.
But at work, Rosemary can remember the pain of putting on a smile every day for the cameras, knowing her attacker was out there watching.
You never feel that you'll be pure again, and that just haunts you.
So with a heavy heart, Rosemary told her boss, former TV anchor John Shand, she was leaving the station.
He really was. He was like a father to me in many ways.
Rosemary left a career in television, but it wasn't long until she was thrust into the spotlight once again, this time as the wife of a candidate.
And one of the hardest things for me was actually running that campaign and participating when I was still so raw on the inside.
In the 12 years that followed, the Tribble family grew, and Paul went on to become a U.S. Senator. Despite such a public life, few people knew of Rosemary's pain.
She's had this quiet ministry, if you will, for years.
A ministry that took her across the country and around the world helping others.
If I had not traveled my own dark road, then I would not have been able to reach out to others.
Now the wife of a college president and an author, Rosemary has found her voice and her calling.
I don't know what awaits me, but I'll tell you this. When Rosemary Tribble approaches the gates of heaven, there'll be a mass of people there waiting to welcome her. And it's going to be the men and women whose life she's touched and transformed by radiating powerfully each and every day the joy and love of God.
And I hope and I pray that God will use my story in any way to try to bring that to others so that others will never have to go through what I went through.